Alright, good afternoon po. So, hintay lang po tayo siguro ng at least 3 to 5 minutes para maka-join yung other participants, and we will start at exactly 1:05 p.m. Thank you for waiting and attending this webinar. Alright, siguro pwede na tayong magsimula kasi may madami nating participants and siguro habol na lang po yung iba. I hope everyone can see my screen. And so, okay naman. So ayun po, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for attending Lunch and Learn with Alloy. I am John Rick, Technical Support of Alloy CP Trading, and I will be your speaker for today's webinar. Our webinar is GWN Deployment, the GWN series. I am accompanied by Patrick, and he's in charge with your questions. There's a chat function on the right side of these platforms where you can ask your question there, and Patrick will try his best to answer those. So without further ado, let's get started. In this presentation, we will discuss on how to plan, deploy, and optimize wireless network using GWN series. We're going to cover steps involved in the predictive survey before the access points, and then as well as discussing the steps that should be taken on post-deployment. We will also cover features that you can enable to enhance the Wi-Fi performance for the users. All right. Predictive survey is the most convenient way when designing a wireless network without having to be on site. The first step is to study the floor plan or the blueprint of the location to gather information such as area size and the facility layout. Second is to identify what type of applications and devices used in the deployment. For example, like video conferencing, these devices requires enough bandwidth and QoS configuration. And also, the installer should understand the construction materials to help predict the signal propagation. And also the signal strength to prevent any issues in the wireless coverage range and speed. Next is to consider the number of wireless clients. And then also what type of application they will be using um, to understand how much bandwidth is required. Next is to design the access point layout that the installer should know where to place the unit and the number of access point in the deployment. This is to ensure that the capacity and coverage are met. Number six is selecting the right access point for the area. This is to usually based on the capacity and speed requirements of the wireless network. Lastly, is to know if having a guest Wi-Fi access is required. So we can create additional SSID for those, and then we can deploy the units or the devices on waiting rooms and training rooms. Okay. After the predictive survey, then we proceed on the AP selection. So Grandstream offers multiple GWN models with different capabilities to accommodate the capacity needs of the deployment. Starting with low density, we have GWN 7605 with two spatial streams multi-users MIMO technology. And it supports up to 100 concurrent clients with an aggregate wireless throughput of 1.27 gigabit per second. Then we have GWN 7615 for medium density. It includes three spatial streams and supports up to 200 wireless clients. It also delivers wireless data rate of 1.75 Gbps. And for the high density users or the or requirements, we have Wi-Fi 6 capable GWN 7664, which have four spatial stream with aggregate throughput of 3.55 Gbps, and this model can handle up to 512 concurrent clients. To locally manage GrandStream access points, all models of GrandStream access points comes with an embedded controller. It provides centralized management of up to 50 GWN access points. The process of designating a controller, you simply choose an access point, then log in to its web interface, then pair the remaining access points, then all of the paired access points will serve as a slave access points. The integrated controller is free and doesn't require any licensing fees. And when managing multiple wireless networks across multiple locations, Grandstream offers the cloud-based management platform, uh, which is called GWN Cloud. It provides centralized management and complete control of GWN access points without added cost and complexity. It is a free service and it has no limit on GWN access points in terms of management. And another benefits of using GWN Cloud is the zero-touch provisioning of all GWN access points. So you can provision or you can use the zero-touch provision from one single interface. So it is basically what you call it, a plug and play. Yeah. So after the installer puts all the wireless access points or the wireless network in place, post-deployment survey is recommended to ensure that the wireless network cover the whole desired area. And to check if there are no issues with signal strength and speed. So for this example, looking at the following heat map, it appears that the access points cover the whole area. However, there are some adjustment that needs to be made. So the first thing that is obvious here is we have a co-channel interference. So which means we have overlapping access points transmitting over the same channel. The problem of this interference is that the users connected to these access points will be competing on the same wireless medium that may negatively impact the Wi-Fi performance. So excuse me. So the first approach or some approaches to fix the co-channel interference is to adjust the transmit power based on the area. It's done on the controller side. So, and then next is to verify the channel that is being used to avoid overlapping channels, especially for 2.4 gigahertz, which only have 3 non-overlapping channels. To prevent co-channel interference, GWN access points have a built-in feature called DCA, or the Dynamic Channel Assignment. So it allows the access points to monitor the channels and decide what is the best one to use. And the last approach is to examine the RSSI. You can use any Wi-Fi analyzer application to ensure that the signals is strong throughout the location. Also, the GWN dashboard also provides RSSI information of the clients that may be helpful to see the signal strength of the connected wireless client. In addition, there are some Wi-Fi features that are that the installer might enable to help improve the Wi-Fi performance. So we can take a look at these features. The first is RRM, or Radio Resource Management. So it is used to dynamically control the transmit power of an access point. And related to this, the RRM uses the TPC, or transmission power control, to reduce the interference caused by overlapping signal. As shown in this example, DCA ensures that each access point is using a non-overlapping channel, while TPC reduces the power when other AP are within range. Next is the voice enterprise. So when delay sensitive applications or devices such as voice or videos are deployed, it is a good practice to enable the voice enterprise. It is designed to improve the roaming experience of the wireless client. So, so it is used when there's a roaming devices. Excuse me. So these features or this feature is built based on three 802 standards: 802.11k, 802.11r, and 802.11b. To take advantage on these features, make sure that the wireless client supports all these standards. Um, you can also choose only one standard to be enabled. For example, the 802.11r, which makes the authentication process faster. So basically, this is used for roaming experience for the wireless clients. Next is the airtime fairness. So in wireless communication, only one device can send or receive at a time. So when you have two devices transmitting out in different rates, so the higher rate device will get impacted because it will have to wait for the slower rate to receive or transmit its block of data. Excuse me. So basically, this slows down the high rate devices because it has to wait longer. So to equally divide the airtime between devices, GWN access point supports the Wi-Fi feature called Airtime Fairness. So it can be enabled so that the high rate devices won't get impacted. Mhm. Yeah, as you can see on this example. However, there's a downside of enabling this feature. Uh, the slower devices will get even slower because now they have less time for transmitting. So there's a downside when enabling this. The next feature that you should enable with caution is band steering, which essentially places the wireless stations on prioritized band. Since all grand stream access points are dual band, they both work on 2.4 and 5, 5 gigahertz. You might use band steering, for example, to prioritize 5 gigahertz to ensure higher data rates, or you can prioritize 2.4 gigahertz to ensure good coverage range. However, band steering can be a problem on roaming devices. This is due to the fact that some devices might try to connect to different band, and when the signal gets weaker during the roaming process, so for example, you might prioritize 5 gigahertz, and then the wireless device will try to connect to 2.4 gigahertz when it sees the 5 gigahertz signals is getting weaker. So it can lead to to an interruption or slowness during the roaming process. So band steering is usually recommended for static clients, or when you use the or when you are sure to use all devices, um, uh, that all devices will be transmitting over specific band, like something you can also configure on the wireless client. So this is not used for it is not recommended for roaming devices. Just use band steering or enable band steering when you are sure that it is a static device. All right. So when designing a wireless network into a segment of for all these organizational purposes, you can dedicate a special SSID or VLAN for each group. The Wi-Fi feature client isolation can be useful in a way that it can restrict access to other devices in the same network. So, so in this example, the client isolation is enabled to block users connected to the guest Wi-Fi from reaching other resources or other devices in the same local area network. And the users can only access the internet. So we can enable this feature client isolation so that um, guests can only access the internet and not the other resources or other devices connected on the same network, same local area network. And that's it. Those are the steps and features that can be enabled on the GWN series. And uh, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will try my best. And also Patrick will try his best to answer your questions. Do you have any questions? There's a chat. Sultan. Yes, Sultan.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
What?
sir, yes, good afternoon. Sir, tanong ko lang sir yung kanina, yung sa deployment mo na, ano, yung maraming access point na parang per room and sabi mo nag-overlapping sila. So the solution is just to lower the power?
Uh, yes, sir. You can.
Okay.
Opo. Pwede po natin siyang. Pwede po tayong mag-enable ng isang feature which is yung what do you call this? Yung the transmit power. So it can be enabled or you can adjust it on the GWN web interface. Pag
Sir,
po
hindi pa, sir, hindi pa pwede natin i-mesh na lang? Kung ito parang i-direct na lang yung mga user, kung saan siya malakas yung ano. Hindi pa ganun, sir? Yung setup? Mesh?
Pwede rin po tayong mag-mesh, sir. Pero ito po yung based on Grand Stream guide. Kapag po meron tayong mga overlapping channels, we can adjust the transmit power.
Ah,
We can also use the mesh deployment.
sir, yung kung hindi natin gagawin yung machine deployment, so every time maglalagin ako ng ano, magkukunik, every time magkunik ako, I need to log in. Ganun ba, sir? Or yung magpa-password pa ako sa network, parang ganun ba, sir? Tama?
Uh,
Or
pag ano, come again, sir? Sorry.
yeah. Pag pupunta ko sa kabilang kwarto, sir, sa ano, sa ibang access point, so do I need to log in again? Or
No, sir.
hindi na?
Hindi naman nakakailangan, sir.
Ah, okay. Yun lang, sir, hindi ko mag-gets. Okay. Di ba, sir, kapag mesh, kahit saan na pumunta sa, ano, sa ibang kwarto, kasi silang ISID din, kahit saan na pumunta.
Yun nga po, sir, yung kumbaga yung mesh is gagamitin natin pag for example, same SSID. So kapag naka-mesh naman sila, ang excuse me, ang magbo-broadcast naman na SSID is kahit lumipat tayo ng ibang room is yun pa rin naman po. So ganun po yung pag naka-mesh. Opo. So kapag yung naman pong for example iba yung SSID na kokonektan ng ating clients or nung users, yun po yung pwede nating babaan or i-adjust yung transmit power.
So, sir, kung naka-mesh, sir, meron bang nag-overlap din sila pag naka-mesh? Hindi.
Come again, sir? Medyo
Pag,
choppy po.
pag naka-mesh, sir, merong overlapping ba? Yung co-overlapping, meron bang ganun, sir, nangyayari pag naka-mesh? Hindi naman.
Pwedeng magkaroon, sir, ng overlapping, sir.
So, kailangan, sir, pahinaan mo yung power niya. Yun lang yung solution.
Pwedeng hinaan po yung power or tawag dito. Pwede pong hinaan or power or meron po kasi yung GWN natin na na feature yung DCA, dynamic channel assignment. So yung GWN na po mismo yung lilipat ng mga clients sa pinaka the best na channel.
Tapos,
So,
yes, sir.
opo.
Tapos ganun din, sir. Depende rin kung malapit ka sa access point, ililipat ka niya sa 5. Sa 5, hindi sa 2.4. May ganun ba, sir, na dual band siya?
Dual band siya, sir. So, yun nga po, yung sa sinasabi ko po kanina, yung band steering, yun po, ginagamit po siya for static devices. So, hindi siya recommended for roaming. Kasi ipa-prioritize niya kung saan ko connect yung mga devices. Kung gusto ba nila sa 2.4 or sa 5 lang.
May automatic ba, sir, na halimbawa kung malapit ka sa 5 ka niya kukulit. Pero pag lumalayo ka na sa 5, i-automatic ka, ililipat ka sa 2.4?
Yes po, pwede po yun, sir. Kasi dual band naman po yung mga natin, mga grand stream access points.
Tapos, meron rin, sir, yung bago na rin yung Wi-Fi 6.
Yes, sir. New device po siya.
So, triple
Bago pa
band na
lang
siya.
po siyang... Hello?
Magiging triple band. Or, paano ba yun, sir? Okay. Hello, sir? Hello?
Hello? Yes,
Okay.
hello, sir. Hello?
Yes, sir. Okay na, sir. Thank you.
Opo. Sorry. Hello?
Yes, sir. Okay na, sir. Okay na, sir. Thank you.
Okay po, sir. Okay po. All right. So, do we have any more questions? All right. So, kung wala na po, I think we could end our webinar. So, kung may maisip po tayo na other questions, you can email us on Alloy, support@alloy.com.ph. And for sales inquiries, you can email sales@alloy.com.ph. Once again, thank you for attending Lunch and Learn. I'm John Rick, and more power to everyone.